Yesterday, we spoke about two cohorts of people. One cohort would be those looking to go aggressively long, and we said that your time would probably be now in alignment with the stock market, which was going to bounce towards the upside. We said very high probability of that. Probably carries crypto and Bitcoin with it, but then you need to reassess. Then there was cohort number two, which we spoke about, and we said that those are going to be the cohort of individuals looking for a safer entry, confirmation that a major low's in. I want to discuss both of those cohorts today, what you're going to be looking to do with those positions. A, if you took the longs off of yesterday's bounce from the stock market, and B, if you didn't long yet, what you should be looking out for today. So smash the like button. Let's get straight into the show content. There it is. A lot of the coins are up. ICP 20%, so some decent gains over here coming off of those lows. QNT almost 20%, Zcash 20%, actually new highs, local highs that are currently forming over there, still holding the long. I think I'm up like 1,800%, so I'll just continue to maintain that position. Trump, any pump becomes a short opportunity on the Trump coin. Use that on your low time frames if you're looking for a short trade. So some decent gainers over there. The stock market as well did put in a couple of bounces over here across the board. So we'll see, is there going to be continuation? If you look at the stock market, there it was. That was the daily candle we said coming into this cluster of support. This is your SR flip region. So you can see previous resistance, now flipped into support, and we're still looking for a bit of a high low over here to form in continuation. And we're just going to keep raising this bar until the trend line basically gets hit. So it depends when that comes. It should put it or place it just above 7,000, so we can elevate that reward area even slightly more. Now, of course, stops are moved to break even, so there's absolutely no ways that you can possibly lose on this trade if you took it. And we've been long the stock market, for years now. We just keep trying to find new entries. If you only recently entered into those trades, it's probably worthwhile to elevate your stop losses now and float them below yesterday's low, because this is a big SR flip region. You don't want to drop below that. Expectation would be, yes, maybe you chop about here a little bit, but then you should have continuation higher over there. Dow Jones as well, same thing, a little bit of a rougher drawing, but came into our LARP lines, SR flip all the way into this $46,000, $47,000 region, and pushing towards the upside. And then if we look at the NASDAQ, also exactly the same thing, 50% level, almost tagged, big SR flip. So we can just draw a little box around that region. SR flip into that zone, 613 to 620, and expecting continuation to the 161.8 fib extension at 648 for the QQQ. I'm not going to spend too much time going through the rest of the stocks over here. Those are the main ones. I just wanted to cover the main stock markets, and then we can get straight into crypto and see what is happening over there. The market has become a little bit more balanced. So following those mass liquidations, we're now starting to see the total liquidations have dropped significantly. Look at that, down almost 73%, because we saw over those $2 billion worth of liquidations, now at 50-50, more or less. It's like a skew of 0.04%. So this is where the market tries to rebalance, and the bulls and the bears decide, are they going to pick a side and position, right? And the thesis is that, well, if the stock market does continue towards the upside, there's a real good chance that you put in your high lows over here. And even if the high time frame structure is broken, which, I mean, it is, you've had a market structure break on the high time frames up until the weekly, which means that any bounces that occur over here should be treated as lower highs that have the potential to fail and continue towards the downside. But those bounces can be very significant, which is worthwhile to play, right? On the long side, it's worthwhile playing those. So I think that is essentially what the market is trying to determine over here, which is why that skew has gone 50-50. We've seen now the fear and greed pick up again, going from 23 now up to 27. And I think that slowly but surely over the course of this week and into next, you'll see that optimism coming back into the market. And therefore, it's probably worthwhile to actually look for long opportunities. But you have to be pretty precise about your entry. I'm going to show that to you today. So liquidations have dropped off significantly. Daily exchange volume continues to round out over here. This is at least a good sign for the bounce, right? I'm not necessarily saying we're going on a moon mission over here, but a good sign for at least a short-term bounce over there. ETF outflows have been good. That's what we wanted to see, because those guys tend to sell near and or create bottoms when they are selling. Quick look over here at the flows there to see where the money is moving on the weekly scale. Still Zcash, one of the top performers over there, which is why it does keep going up. There's the Zcash position over there breaking out into new highs. Anything that happens, from this point onwards is just gravy. From our original entry, now up 117%. And we are, of course, levered up on that, right? So really, really good over there. Big movers looking good. Dash, Zen, TRX, 𝗬𝗶𝗊𝗙, TON, these are minuscule flows, nothing major. The majority in the top 100 are just outflows, right? So pretty brutal over there. Let's just quickly have a look at the economic calendar. I haven't checked it yet to see, do we have any important data that's going to be coming out later today. What are we on? The 6th of November? 6th of November, anything interesting coming up? No, not today, but tomorrow we do have initial jobless claims, non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate. This does have the ability to affect the market, specifically the stock market. So make sure that if you are in long trades, tighten your stops into tomorrow and assess exactly what is the stock market doing. One of the other things we're looking at on the Bitcoin chart was on the weekly RSI, and I thought this was a really great chart just to highlight it, right? Same level that we bounced multiple times before. These have been all the major corrections from coming into September 2024. Just a little bit more of a better visual compared to my chart, which has got a lot of noise on it, just to give you some perspective of the significance of this level around that 44 region on the RSI. So if you do start to see that bounce out here alongside the stock market, this will be a really, really hopeful sign that bulls can obviously continue prices high. And if you get those break of structures, then things will look good. Please do remember that your MACDs are crossed on most of the important timeframes, even up until the 3 weekly as of right now is crossed. You have 10 days left to go, which means 10 days for the bulls to fight back to avoid this cross. But if it closes here or lower, well, you're going to have a MACD cross towards the downside, which of course is not a good thing. So we hit our key support. Things are in motion over here, but you have broken structure, just to be clear, right? This was your previous higher low. So remember, you can track all of these things. That has been one low, higher low, and officially closes below that is a break of structure. Yes, maybe this week in the next 3 days, you could have this massive rally and run up, but the wicks anyway have already closed below. So you've broken structure effectively over there. And the same thing is going to be true on the 3-day, the 2-day, the 1-day, down even into low time frames, right? It's in a downtrend over there. The other thing we're looking at is the expansion of volatility. This is telling you why you want to be really, really cautious when building the long positions, because this signals that the move that's taking place, which has been towards the downside, is real based on the expansion over here of the Bollinger Band with percentile. But we did speak about this on Monday, Tuesday, the whole week really, is watch for that deviation. So I'm going to show you how to line it up on the low timeframes. If you are looking for that long trade based off of this deviation and you want an earlier entry with confirmations, I'm going to give that to you on the low timeframe. Stay until the very, very end. Smash the like button, guys, as well. It really helps us to get the show content out there. So just smash the like button. And then I just wanted to highlight something for those of you that are playing the high time frame, maybe a long-term holder of Bitcoin. You believe Bitcoin's going to catch up to gold. You believe Bitcoin's going to $1 million, $10 million plus over the next couple of decades. Then this is truly the best way to gain exposure. And I'm also going to show you how you can get one full Bitcoin. You can win a Bitcoin, right? So the easiest way to do this is through dollar cost averaging. If you want to remove the noise of the charts and the confusion, it's worthwhile. And I discussed this in Whale School as well, which is where we cover various different strategies to succeed long-term in crypto and Bitcoin. One of the easiest ways is dollar cost averaging. And I always say that during times like these, your dollar cost average portion of your portfolio will save you a lot of headaches, because this is what the chart generally just looks like. Even if there's periods that go down, the green line denotes your total asset value if you were dollar cost averaging over time. And the dates that I selected over here, I went from January 2020, up until now. And I just set it as, well, you're just dollar cost averaging $100 per month. And you can play around with this. You can even go into, call it the bad times, the worst of times. Let's actually have a look at the Bitcoin chart and say, well, you know, what happens if you started on the 3rd of October? And let's just have a look at that. So we'll go to the 3rd of October this year. We'll need to switch this maybe to weekly. Let's see, can we get that? Okay, we'll go October until November. And even then, still, this is what your chart looks like. It's still in an uptrend, right? Your total value, you're down like a few dollars, $7. So of course we want to probably put more data in there. Let's just reset that. Let's go October and to November, and we'll go pretty much $100 per day. You would still be up. So total purchase, $3,100. You're up $89, even under the assumption that you basically bought over here at the top. But you dollar cost average every single day until now, you diminish your losses, right? So it's a very valuable strategy for those of you that might have been really shaken up off of these dips. The swings in the market are too much for you to handle. This is one way that you can kind of neutralize those swings within the market to average things out. That's literally how it works, right? So for example, the swings look like this in the market, huge, massive price moves. This is what your steady hand should feel like if you're dollar cost averaging, like that. Just straight line through the middle of that, right? Through that chop that's occurring within the market. So again, how can you do this and get one full Bitcoin? Well, of course you can dollar cost average until you buy a full Bitcoin. But if you want to try and win a full Bitcoin, there is an amazing incentive currently going on with Easy Bitcoin. I have to be clear. I know that those of you watching now, because it might be very late in the US, might have some people from California right now, but most of you watching live are probably from the UK and Europe area. So this is only going to be for the US, just to be clear. Unfortunately, it's not available yet in Europe. But if you are based in the US, you can get a full Bitcoin by just doing one of these three things. Opt into their newsletter, set a one-time buy on their app, on the Easy Bitcoin app, or set a recurring buy, which would be effectively dollar cost averaging. Go and play around with these calculators. And you can see over here. So Easy Bitcoin is powered by Uphold, which is where this dollar cost average calculator is. If you want to see that, there's a link in the description below. Just go through over there, click that app over there, sign up, and execute one of those things until the 30th of November. They don't have a lot of followers over here, just to be clear. So your odds are very, very good, right? If you look at their Twitter account, 1,349, go follow them as well. I think it means that if you're in the US, your odds are really, really, really good that you stand a chance to win an entire Bitcoin. So for those of you that want to DCA in, good luck. Good luck over there. That's the requirement. I see that Tech Eagle says, what's the minimum requirement buy? I think that you can go as low as like $1 on their app. Very, very, very low requirement. But I don't know why you're asking. Let's just be real. You're not from the US. Are you from the US? So use the link. If you're from the US, use the link, go through, check out their thing. I think it's a nice incentive for those of you interested. Now let's look at Bitcoin on the daily time frame. A couple of things that you really need to pay attention to if you're a swing trader, a high time frame trader. This is what you're looking at, right? What would sound disaster, because the market is still bearish. I've just highlighted that, right? We're in a clear downtrend. You literally have lower lows and lower highs, which means you need to clear this high over here. You need to get above 111,513. And if you can't do that, it is still bearish, which means despite us suggesting the long trade, which I'm still going to give you on a low time frame as well, the opportunity over there, if you do see price rallying up into this area and rejecting at about 108,700, that becomes underside resistance, especially when met with very, very, very low volume. Remember how much we've been looking at that volume. Yesterday's candle was quite a big volume candle, which is decent over there, but you need to continue to push up and you need to put in higher and higher and higher volume to maintain that and recapture the trading range to confirm a high time frame deviation, right? So you want to see this. You want to see price move up. You basically want to see this. You want to see an aggressive rally, probably like all the way through without really giving any pauses, almost hitting the mid-range, pull back into that $108,000 level, which has been super critical. This is your 2024 highs, failed at those levels, and then you fought to recapture that into July of 2025, and you'd basically be want to reflipping that into support. So I think that the risk to reward, it doesn't make sense for swing traders to take your whole spot portfolio if you're in cash now and say, you know what, I'm going all in. I think that this is a risky approach, right? It's not necessarily insane if you have your finger on the pulse and you know exactly what you're doing, but it's incredibly risky. I think that the much safer approach for you is to watch and see this take place. A big move up, a throwback. The market is not going to, I'm telling you guys now, I've told you this before, the market is not going to do this, right? The market is not going to go to $200,000-$300,000 with zero pullback. If it rallied hard like this, there will be a throwback and it will come back into this level over here, which is about 107, 108K, and you will get your entry over here. I'm going to highlight it. You will literally get your entry over there, which when you consider the price difference, it's not much. For safety, for confirmation, for insurance that you're not going to lose all your money, you know that bulls have taken back control if you throw up all the way, or if you have a price move that throws all the way up to that 12% region, then comes down, you're only buying for like 4 or 5% higher. It's nothing. It's nothing in hindsight. If Bitcoin is going to rally to 200,000, 300, 4, 500 million, whatever your favorite influencer is telling you, then what is paying 5% higher matter? Nothing. Matters nothing. So that's what you should be looking out for. Otherwise, the more realistic approach of what will probably happen, unfortunately, because the trend is your friend till the end, and this is the way that trends work, the more realistic approach is that you'll probably rally up and reject. And then you're either going to make new lows, or if you lucky enough, you'll put in a high low like that. Okay, and then we spoke about this yesterday. Look for the bullish divergences. So that's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. We're still waiting for the government shutdown, tariffs, all of that to play out. This is your broadening wedge over here that's currently taking place. Price is still below the RSI pivot level, which is the yellow line, which simply means that your daily RSI is still coming towards the downside. But I don't think it will take that much, too many more days, we should say, for this to pop back up, because this has come and squeezed quite far down over there. So we should see this pop back up very soon to shift the momentum. And then keep an eye out, of course, on the USDT dominance. Nice reversal candles on the 12-hour time frame. We'll go into the daily, which basically showcases, and let's just move up that yellow line. Yesterday and the day before, nice strong sell pressure over there. But remember that if you're viewing this on a low time frame like the 4-hour, this could easily just be coming down to throw back, and that's what this line refers to, right? You could just be coming down to throw back into this zone over here to put in another high low and rally up. So you need to monitor this chart. It's vitally important, and we want to see high time frame closes below the white line, governing that trend down. So the market is relatively flat over here in terms of the deltas. You can see over there the extreme negative delta on the high block capital charts over here are starting to squeeze up. Some have already flipped green, like Sonic, for example. ASTER, not far away from flipping green over there, and that's all in alignment with exactly what we're seeing over here. Big drop-off in total liquidations. Neutral over here on the long to short ratio for the top 24 coins, or excuse me, for the top 10 coins over the last 24 hours. And therefore, there's a lack of positioning in the market. When there's a lack of positioning in the market, it's always good to look at where the liquidity is the highest. So when liquidity starts to come out and nobody wants to choose a direction, the market makers will send price towards where the liquidity is the highest, which is where? Well, we can look on the daily time frame. So right now, 11.4 million coming in at $104,500. And then on the downside, 11.8 million. So again, very, very, very similar, which is why maybe you have a negative 0.04% skew, meaning marginally, like literally splitting hairs more shorts than longs, because it is splitting hairs over here. You got like 0.4 million, right? 0.4 million over there in terms of short liquidations. If price comes down over here, or at least towards the short side, you're going to liquidate the longs with their stop losses placed at 100,800. So we need to look at, where is this level, this 100,850? Where is this on the actual price chart? Okay, and that's what I want to look at next. Let's move that up over here. So we're talking about 100,850, and we'll mark that off on the chart. 100,850 is down here. 850. There we go. White line. Now, let's line this up. Okay, how does this line up with some of the key fib levels? I don't know, and we're going to find out right now. So we can utilize our fib tool, and we can measure from the low, and let's get this absolutely precise with a magnet, to the high. And is that not interesting? I mean, I find it pretty interesting. That white line, which is where your liquidity pocket is, this is where the liquidity is the greatest. Doesn't mean that it has to come here first. No, of course it can first maybe take out the high. We'll see what happens. It's splitting hairs over here. It's very tight. But the point is, if you're looking for the next buy the dip, well, there's your golden pocket. Your golden pocket lines up pretty much. I'm going to highlight it for you so it's absolutely crystal clear. White line is where the liquidity is on CoinGlass, right? That's your stop losses to take out that $11-ish million worth of longs. And this is your golden pocket. So therefore, pay attention to these areas. If you do get a little bit of a pullback, that's going to come back down into this zone over here. That becomes your buy zone. Alrighty. Again, no guarantee that that happens first. I think it would happen. It's just which comes first. Do you rally up first, take out the Monday high, and then come back down? Or are you simply just going to struggle over here and roll over back down into the zone? If you do, then there's another opportunity over here for a long, right? Maybe it'll start to form a bit of a trend line over there. Stops can go below. Can you change your vote, Connor? I don't know, actually. I don't know if you can, but let's go see what the votes look like. Best trade for today, in your opinion? Long, 47% of you. Short, 16% of you. No trade is 37%. Again, this is going to depend on your positioning, right? When I say positioning, I mean, you know, are you a spot trader, swing trader? You're looking for the big moves, the big swings. Well, then you have to wait for those dailies to reclaim and see new volume coming into the market. And if November is actually going to be seasonally bullish like it has been in the past, I'm not claiming that, by the way, but if it is going to be, which is the seasonal pattern, then also the expectation would be that you should put in a major low within the first 10 to 15 days of November, set in the monthly low, and then continue towards the upside. So you need to wait for volume to come back in, which simply means that you have a bit more time. And it does mean you're going to buy higher, right? Let's just be clear about that. Your other hopium case, which we have spoken a whole lot about, is ETH BTC is still holding this level. Very, very, very important to start to see some signs of strength coming back into the market, which will just be additional confirmation. You can say that all optimism comes back into the market as soon as, and we'll change this to a green line because I guess green is more optimistic for price, right? And we'll put that on 4 points. That is the level to reclaim. Okay, 0.03702. So 3702, those are the last 4 digits. So essentially, what you want to do, or what you want to see, at least if you're bullish, is you want to see ETH BTC do this. Grind up, close a high time frame candle above here. And as soon as you've done that, you probably have a confirmed low that occurred at the exact level that we said it should take place, which is between the 0.382 and the 0.5 level, which coincided with that bullish order block that drove price up. It just means you revisited this and then you rallied up. That's what you're looking for. Okay. That is what you're looking for. Okay, let's see. Comments. What else have we got over here? Cole's golden pockets are empty. You're going to have to work, sir. Alrighty. Is it worth looking at altcoins? That's the question. The thesis over the last few weeks has always been, and it still is, nothing has changed. If you are interested in altcoins, it's really just ETH and Zcash, because Zcash just continues to melt up. Dips up for buying. I'm not of the thesis that this is a long-term hold. Again, I think this is just a trade opportunity which we took, and that's it. I'm holding the trade. It will take a long time if this is going to play out to be like the next best big thing, which I don't think it is. ETH is the other option, and that's purely based on it being one of the blue chips, the second biggest crypto that's out there, and the ETH BTC ratio giving us confirmation that, you know, this should be a high low. And if the market does play out bullish, you got one more move up into this pink box. I'm not, subscribing to higher than this. I think if you get this to play out, you're getting one more move, which is giving you about a 55% appreciation of Ethereum against Bitcoin. Alrighty. Okay, let's see. Yes, Zcash fundamentals are good according to Rand's recent video. I haven't watched it. I will watch it. I don't know. I'm still doubtful. I just look at the chart and I know what's considered sustainable and what's considered unsustainable. And I'm pretty sure this is in the unsustainable book, right? When you see weeklies that look like that, let's quickly remove everything over here. Let's hide it all. There we go. Do you think that's sustainable? I mean, I don't. How many weeks have we got? 1, 2, 3, it paused, 4, 5, 6, let's say 7, 8, 9. I bet you anything that this will put in the high before the end of November. How much you want to bet? I don't believe this will run beyond 9 weeks in a row. So, which puts it at the end of November. By December, this would have topped, in my opinion. Okay. I know the Clipper guys are out there. They're gonna quote this. They're gonna put this for sure in the clips. I'm sure. Watch. Okay. So Zcash. Well, let's make it interesting for the Clippers. Rand says Zcash is going to $10,000 per coin. I say Zcash will be topped by December. The top will be in by December. Okay, there we go. The Clippers have something. All right, guys. Let's see in the comments if there's anything else to look at. I think that really your focus should just be on Bitcoin, ETH, and Zcash little pullbacks for the short-term trade opportunities over there. Otherwise, there's not really much else to look at. I don't know if we should go through the whole list of absolutely everything, because most of these coins are going to be in the same place, right? It's in limbo. Like, it's got a lot of work to do. There's your ETH chart. Let's quickly go through the rest over here. Nice little bounce over here from XRP, big important range low. Solana, we spoke about on the daily. I said that it could probably rally up to about 175. That's going to be a big resistance level. I'm looking at the weekly now, but if you pivot onto the daily, you have broken this trend. You're below the mid-range. That's not a good sign. Basically, you must recover this whole candle. That's what you're looking at. ASTER we can look at, yes, because it is green on the day. We need to drop on the daily for that. So, yeah, not bad, not bad. It's definitely attempting to recover over here, but it needs better structure. It's going to take a little bit of time. You need price action to develop. So developing price action would probably look something like that. So if you can start to show a strong range, which is going to take time, then yeah, that's a decent zone. Otherwise, you do have this kind of like falling wedge into key support, but there's not that much price history, so you have to take chart patterns with a massive pinch of salt. Alrighty, cool. I also want to let you guys know that if you do want to get a sign-up bonus on Blowfin, this is available until November the 11th. So you have about a week left to go. They have a big bonus. It's paired with $100,000 that you can win on their platform. I do believe that, by the way, that this is the best non-KYC exchange in the world. Super, super, super legit. I think that these guys are probably going to overtake Bybit. So the link is in the description below if you want a sign-up bonus, if you want to participate. That $100,000 is only applicable, that prize pool, using this link. It's specially arranged for you guys. All right. What else? What else have we got, guys? I just lost my screen. Apologies. Let me just quickly get that back over there. Where did our screen go? Okay, let's get that screen back on over there. I know that there was a request for Bitcoin dominance. Let me just find it on one of my other screens over here, and I'll pull that across. So here's Bitcoin dominance. Just a quick look. I know this is quite messy. You have come into the 50% level. You started to reject over there. I want to clean this up a bit, right? I think we absolutely nailed the top over here into this rising wedge, into the top of the parallel channel, into the 0.786. Like, we absolutely hit this thing perfectly over there, and it started to come down. But now I think it's time to redraw some things over here. So let's just clean this up a little bit and have a proper look over here. Okay. It is still possible that this rallies all the way back up. I think that we have to look at it maybe on a bit of a low time frame. And let's just see exactly what is going on over here. It's an incredibly, incredibly sloppy chart. Monthly, what does this monthly look like? Let's also have a look at the monthly. Man, it's so all over the place. This chart is so all over the place. It's obviously better to just be looking at Bitcoin because Bitcoin tends to move first and lead. But when you do look at this chart, I must say it obviously does look like it had a long uptrend, broke down, created a new swing low. And then theoretically, for example, anything that rallies up over here, you would expect is going to be massive resistance into this candle now, which is where that last wick failed. So I think, maybe it pushes up to about 64 and then kind of just watch that zone over there at 64. 64% for resistance. If this begins to reject and roll over, then right? What's going to happen next is, of course, the blue chips are going to run first, the big things like ETH BTC. That probably coincides with ETH BTC bouncing off of this key level. Okay, Success Tech Hub. Wait, that's the wrong comment. Any tips where we can trade USDT? USDT dominance. You can't really trade it. USDT dominance simply refers to, because you're talking about this chart, right? Like, I don't think that there's somewhere where you can trade this to make money off of it. But USDT dominance simply just refers to, if this is going in an uptrend, it means that more money is flowing out of the overall crypto sphere and going into Tether, right? That's what pushes the dominance up, which means usually that's because the rest of the market is going down. And always ask yourself, when you look at a chart like this, is this chart more bullish or bearish? I would say it's still more bullish, even though you have those wicks over there that look very rejective. We're meant to be on the 4-hour. Let's just drop onto that. Even though you have those wicks over there, this is still an uptrend. This is still higher highs and higher lows. And you have to basically break this level, that level over there, 4.96%. If you start to break 4.96% down, then yeah, that will be looking good. Okay, I see we have a few requests over there. We'll go into those as well. One of them is XPL. Okay, and we've got to go into a low time frame for this. Let's go on a 4-hour. So look, it doesn't look good. It's coming down. It's pretty much a straight downtrend over there. Yeah, it's bad. It's got a lot of work to do. This was the level previously to reclaim. I think that you can now change that to this zone. If you can start to get above 33 cents, then you can talk about potentially a bottom is in. So you need to see this. That, flip it into support, and then, yeah, potentially there's something there. All right, let's quickly check Hype as well, because that was one that we had looked at that trade opportunity on. So I think as far as long trades go, I guess maybe this is another one to put on your list, right? Look at that perfect throwback into the super fib, the 0.886 and the 0.786. That's $35, $36. You hit that level. Now zoom in, go on a lower time frame. All right. If this is bullish, I would expect a high low to form somewhere similar to what we outlined on the Bitcoin chart, which is the 0.618 to 65 fib taken from that low to that high. So locally, you should pull back into 100,000, 101,000, which should coincide with Hype. These are probably the trades of the day, by the way. Bitcoin and Hype. These are the main ones I'd look at. So I'm glad I remembered that. So there it is. Watch out over here for potential longs. And I say potential longs because it's heavily driven by what the stock market is doing. Pull back into here. There we go. And start to look for the long setup. Okay. Of course, stops float below. You have to be open and understand that when you have wicks like this, very similar to Bitcoin, I'm going to highlight them. This is liquidity ripe for the taking. So this is why do not blindly long, but rather look for the reaction. So if you do get the reaction should bounce off of here. If you don't, you may be coming back for this wick over here. And actually, let's change our fib to see where is the, there's a difference between the 0.886 and 786 on the high time frame and the low time frame. So let's see how that lines up on the low time frame, just out of interest. Okay, let's hide this one so it doesn't confuse us. So interestingly, that would drop you down, and we'll highlight that box. So you got two areas of interest, and I'll price label them so you're not confused as well, because I'm a legend like that, right? I make life easy for you guys. Who else does this for you? Anyone else make it that easy for you with the literal price labels, everything you need? Okay, so price label 1. Okay, that's so if the the golden pocket, the 0.618 and 65 fib retracement fail, and we'll throw that back on as well. and we'll price label it because we legends like that. So we'll put it over here. These are your buy zones. Okay, can close that, can close that. All right, so buy zone 1 is here, and buy zone 2 is in this yellow box. This is for Hyperliquid, which has shown relative strength. It's been one of the better performers. We read the tape. Reading the tape means you look at how did something perform when, for example, the rest of the market went down. Did this have relative strength? And the answer is yes. Zcash would be a better option because it's just going parabolic, but we're already long on that, right? So that's why I'm giving you different stuff. So pull back into one of these zones like this. You know, if you start to see those beautiful wicks forming, there it is. Start to look for the long opportunity. Get your trigger plan together. I'm not going to be able to go through all the details on that now, but there becomes your long trade. If it fails that, so it bounces lower high and fails, then this is your next area of interest. 36,538, stop goes below, you long over here, and of course there's your risk, right? Your risk is between there and there. Next, let's do the same thing for Bitcoin for you. So we'll mark out those same levels as well. Okay, let's clean that. Alrighty, we got that out the way. Nice. And we are going to price label it. So Bitcoin area of interest number 1, price label 100,967. Now we also need to look at those lower fibs. All right, and get our little box in. We're going to target the midpoint of that. If the first target fails, we target the midpoint. There it is. Okay, so those are the 2 areas of interest. So I would say these are like the 2 best trades. You can do the same exercise on ETH. So we can do it quickly for you on ETH as well. Why not? Because of the ETH BTC ratio. So I've given you 3 trade opportunities then today. 3. So you can see that wick might need to be recovered. When I say recovered, it means that price might need to come back towards that to fulfill some of that liquidity. That's the extreme example, 3,128. And then we'll give you the second one, which is the golden pocket. And where's our little price label? And we'll throw it in the middle over there. There we go. Okay. So you have all your areas of interest. They're all labeled. The easiest way to take this trade, if you are interested, is to build a position. So you buy smaller at the top, bigger at the bottom to reduce your risk. And that usually comes out looking like this. A pyramid approach, right? So there we go. Float your stops here. Price comes in and you buy, and then hopefully bounce out of there. Cool. Let me know if that makes sense for you guys. That's enough trades for you. I think you have 3 trades. Remember, we don't want to just like throw random trades out for the sake of it. Then you end up getting wrecked. The mindset has truly been to remain super concentrated in our positioning. By super concentrated, I mean not only concentrating your mind on the charts, you know, getting into Zen mode, but also concentrated in the sense of how many positions you're holding. Less is more, right? It's better for you because you can actively manage those positions. I'm sure there's a lot of people out here that are stuck in like lots, 20, 30, 40 positions. And you like an ostrich, you just put your head in the sand and say, if I don't look, it don't hurt, right? If I don't look, it doesn't matter. That's probably what's going on. And I get it. I've been there before as well. But you have to face the facts and you have to face reality. And the best way for you to do that, if that is you, is to take your head out the sand, look at how down you are on certain things and take those positions and start selling them, you know, into just a couple of trades so that you can actively manage those and try and recover the things. See, there's David S says he has 12, right? It's a bit too much. It's okay. 12 is manageable. You can, of course, read through your list and look at the charts, 12 charts a day, things like that. But it just becomes a bit more difficult when the action begins to take place to execute and exit those positions if something goes bad, right? And because we're so late in the cycle, even if you subscribe to like the super cycle theory and we're going on for like an extended 5-6 year cycle, and the cycles are different because of ETFs and they're all buying everything up, which I don't subscribe to, by the way. But if you do, you're still better off holding less positions so that you can manage those. So Ed says he would have had about 20 positions, 20 trades over there. Price always comes down to a hunt wicks. Not always, but most of the time, yes. Especially in a low volume and illiquid environment, which you can tell by the total liquidations have dropped off. The lack of direction in the market right now, which is shown by the long to short ratios being relatively equal. This tells you that then the market is not that efficient, right? It's gone through an inefficient phase, so it's probably going to come back and fill some of that to become efficient again. And the way that it does that is it comes to test those lower levels and the conviction of the people in positions at those low levels. Alrighty. Zcash 517. Let me quickly check our position. It's always great to see when you're, let's throw this on the screen. It's always great to see when the position is up so much. 1,762. I'm sure that sometime next week we'll see this over 2,000%. So we entered at 235, which is that exact trade. You can see that's proof, right? Remember, I had to fight that guy about hindsight trading. So we got 120% profit now, or 120% price move with leverage. So that's why it's like almost 2,000. So it's looking really good. It's going parabolic, insane relative strength, all the attention's over there. That's why all the flows are going into it as well. If you come and look on the whale trade side over here, that's exactly what you can see. Where's it? Where's our flows again? There we go. Zcash, all the net inflows going into Zcash for now. Trade it while it's hot. Enjoy it. Make money while it's hot. Okay. Got to find some different exchanges. I'm not sure why or what you mean, but yeah, you can elaborate. So if you need a different exchange, of course, there's always different incentives with the partners, but one of my favorite is definitely Blofin. So they seem to be quick to list new things as well. If something catches like a bid or gets attention, they're always one of the first. And the thing is, they have fire blocks, which is important to me because I trade with size. So fire blocks means that there's no chance that they can rug you or whatever, you know, like for example, like FTX traded the user's funds. It's literally impossible because they're using a third party high level custodian of the funds to protect users' funds. So there's just no way, right? There's no way that anything like that can happen. There's even a YouTube video if you want to watch how to claim your funds or how to claim your rewards. By the way, that's over here. Click that. All right, so Zcash is definitely on Blofin. By the way, if that was your reasoning, you're asking because you want to trade Zcash, it's on Blofin. Guys, I'll see you all on the next one. I hope you have a good day. Thank you so much for joining the Whale Room. We'll do a live Zoom session later today. For those of you that want to join Whale Room, there's a waiting list that's in the description below because we've closed it, right? So if you want to be first on the waiting list, use that. I'll see you all on the next one. Have a good day, everyone, and cheers for now.